Bremont is a brand that in as little as 10 years has set the standards in manufacturing understated yet beautiful aviation chronometers. The story actually begins many years before with two brothers, Nick and Giles English. They spent most of their formative years with their father, Ewan, in his workshop in Cambridge, England. Ewan English, a pilot and aeronautical engineer, inspired his sons through his love of restoring vintage aircraft, cars and timepieces. He was also passionate about flying and a very active display pilot on the airshow circuit. The brothers were fortunate enough to be taught to fly from a very early age and were displaying historic aircraft themselves at airshows when they were in their teens. They both also flew with the Royal Air Force during their university years. Tragedy then struck the family one late afternoon on March the 4th, 1995. Nick was out flying with his father in the back in the 1942 North American Harvard. Whilst practicing formation aerobatics with another T6, their aircraft crashed and Ewan English died on impact. Nick broke over 25 bones in the accident and was airlifted to hospital in London. Giles, who was waiting to take off in the next sortie, received the news of the accident over the radio. This one event changed the brothers' lives forever. Nick discharged himself from hospital a few months later, and Giles quickly got him back up in the air. Doing something they loved was now essential to both of them. Life was short. Recent events had certainly shown this, and it definitely proved to be a tipping point in the brothers' lives. They occupied themselves with a business restoring and maintaining vintage aircraft whilst planning for what they really wanted to do: to set up their own watch brand. Eventually the opportunity came in 2002 and the brothers set up two small workshops, one just outside London, England, and the other in Bienne in Switzerland, to help source the parts to make their first collection. The watches had to be over-engineered in every sense of the word. They were all to be mechanical and also chronometer tested. Only the finest components would be used, and all their efforts went to producing a watch that simply could not be rivaled quality-wise at this price point. They also had to be durable. With a tagline of "tested beyond endurance," robustness was to play a significant part in all of the testing over the coming years. The brothers quickly enrolled the help of one of the world's leading authorities in watchmaking as technical director, Peter Roberts. Having been one of the very few British watchmakers to have been trained at Wostep in Switzerland, Peter's many years at Rolex, IWC and tutoring at Hackney Watch School made him a perfect fit. The final ingredient was that the watches were very much British. With some of the greatest contributions to horology over the past 3 centuries, from John Harrison's first ship's chronometer, enabling precise navigation at sea, to other great innovators like Mudge, Graham, Tompion, and the great and recently deceased George Daniels. The UK was the perfect location to start. What was still missing was a name for the company. The brothers didn't want to purchase and relaunch a dormant brand. Nick and Giles wanted the brand to start from afresh, with all of the new ideologies in place from day one. The way the name was chosen for the brand 10 years ago is a story in itself. 2 years after the plane accident, and whilst flying down through France in an old 1930s biplane, the brothers had to force land through poor weather. Landing in a pea field, they are keen to avoid the French authorities.
You see lights flashing down in the valley, and literally blue lights coming up the road. He said, quickly put it in here. So he put the airplane in there. His house was just like our father's old workshop. You know, it had bits of engine in places. It had old grandfather clocks, and his name was Antoine Bremont.
With the watches finally ready, and a name as well, a very rigorous testing phase was entered into, both in and out of the workshop. The watches were tested for significant periods of time by adventurers, explorers, mountaineers, freedivers, and of course, pilots. All cases on Bremont watches are hardened in the UK using a proprietary technique giving the case metal a hardness of 7 times that of a standard watch-grade stainless steel. And all of the watch's sapphire crystals are treated with 9 layers of scratch-resistant anti-reflective coating on both sides. Finally, all Bremont movements are subjected to a rigorous 15-day chronometer test over 7 different temperature ranges and watch positions, and arrive with a performance certificate as issued by the COSC Institute in Switzerland. Bremont now finds itself in the top 20 chronometer producers in the world. It was not long into Bremont's history that a grueling 4-year phase of testing and development started with the British ejection seat manufacturer Martin Baker. Martin Baker has saved over 7,300 aircrew lives to date, and their escape technology continues to be used all around the globe. The project goal: to produce a watch that could withstand the same rigours as the seats themselves, and therefore putting the chronometers through the same testing and evaluation program. The watches were subjected to vibration, shock, climatic, pressure and electromagnetic tests, to name a few. And they have been also the only watch brand to have been subjected to a live ejection testing program. One result of all of this testing was that Bremont has developed a new anti-shock movement suspension mechanism that would allow a mechanical watch to continue running in these environments. The watch was also specifically designed to identify aircrew that had ejected. Those that have are entitled to a red barrel on their MB1 watch. The success of the MB series has, in turn, led to many military squadrons around the world adopting Bremont as their choice of watch. Bespoke limited edition for Bremont do not end here. In fact, the company has become renowned for its innovative and beautifully made non-military limited editions. The Bremont EP120, which made its debut at Basel in 2008, sold out immediately and now trades at almost double its original retail price. The EP120 integrated parts of a very famous World War II Supermarine Spitfire. The World War II fighter shot down 14 aircraft in 1942 and is still flying in a very original condition today. Parts of the aircraft were integrated into the dial and movement of its namesake watch, and so you're literally wearing a piece of history on your wrist. Following on from the phenomenal success of the EP120 came the stunning Bremont P51. Again, using parts of a very special North American P51 Mustang, nicknamed Fragile but Agile, a Pacific War veteran with combat victories to its name. Part of the aircraft's tailplane were built into the watch. This time, 250 were made, and all were pre-ordered prior to delivery. Bremont has also been kept very busy with other key partnerships with a few iconic brands. One brand that the watch company has been working very closely with over the last 3 years is Jaguar Motorcars. Jaguar approached Bremont initially to make the dashboard clock for its new CX-75 Hybrid, a stunning range-extended electric supercar made to celebrate 75 years of the marque. Powered by 2 gas turbines and electric motors, the 200-mile-an-hour supercar uses the latest state-of-the-art technology available. The Jaguar designers' desire to display information with timeless clarity led them to taking styling cues from Bremont's MB2 range of watches. The final result was a perfect combination of traditional Jaguar warmth and absolute purity and precision. Another interesting partnership has been the collaboration with Ronnie Wood and Bremont's B1 Marine clock. The clock, 100% designed and built in the UK over a series of years, was originally made to pay tribute by Bremont to the past British masters of horology. Ronnie Wood, the iconic Rolling Stones guitarist and critically acclaimed artist, worked closely with Bremont to produce a series of very unique and emotive clocks. Armed with a paintbrush, Ronnie hand-painted both the dials and clock cases, with the end product being something truly unique and exceedingly special. the Bremont brand continues to grow and push many boundaries in watchmaking. With this growth has also come the honour of awards, including Walpole's Best Emerging British Luxury Brand in 2008 and Watch Brand of the Year 2011 at the UK Jewellery Awards. The timepieces can be found in many of the leading retailers around the world, in multiple territories. And as the brand grows, so does its band of followers. They do all seem to have one thing in common though: the love of a beautifully engineered mechanical device.